I can't move the way I used to, had to call the audible. I put in the work, no humble flex. And talk of the town, you see who next. They on checkers, I'm on chess. Had to hit her with the X. Xenhouse.
I wanted to go back into, right, like the time when you said, hey, like I want to start J Elite, right? Like obviously your name is Jhonny Arteaga, right? But tell us why you chose that name, and also like what in that moment, right, when you were coaching those kids, did you say, hey, I want to start this club in the town of Stanford, and I just want to, push.
So this is back in 2011. I was actually coaching for a close friend of mine, and I had some teams in Darien that I was running for him, and he, I was part of his program up north, and he was like, "Look, I want nothing to do with anything down there. If I had aspirations of doing my own thing." He said, "Go for it." He's a guy that I respect very much, and I'm still very close friends with. And so at that moment, I was like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to do what I want to do, because I always had the aspiration. I always played the game, and even while I was playing at the professional level, I was coaching. I always really enjoyed being around the kids and like really, I don't know, I just felt like I was really close and connected with the game, And it's also not easy to do. I have a lot of friends and people that play the game at the highest levels, but have no interest in coaching or don't really enjoy it, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing camps and little things like that. So, when I was making this decision, I was like, okay, I wanted my name on it, and so my initials, and then I wanted it to be an elite program in terms of how we develop the players. So I just went with that name, and I think we've pretty much have stayed true to those principles when we started, right? Like providing high-level training and quality, and I think it's grown, but organically as well. I think it's been tremendous growth, 100%, but it's been sort of nothing that I've pushed like, oh, let me build these teams and all this. It's like almost as the people, the families, the community have asked for what we've provided. Like, here's what's next. Here's what's next.
Progression.
So, progression, exactly. So, I'm fortunate to be in this position, to be able to help a lot of players and also just support the community through soccer. But those were the starting days back in 2011, and I wanted just to make an impact. And I still to this day think, okay, we launched this club branch for high school age groups now. How can we further impact the players?
Well, I have a question off of that. So you just started the club aspect for the high school. How do you level up and continue to grow and be known as a top program, opposed to, like, let's say, Ross, us three, we started a Xenhouse soccer club. Like, what do you have to go through to be top tier versus like any other person just starting something and doing
and I think
thing?
a lot of that is going to be a little bit of time too, and developing your own history as well. A lot of these leagues or these programs are all, it should be, and it's merit based in terms of how you progress from league to league. So we have a starting point where we enter our teams, and hopefully with some success, our teams can start getting more access to higher level competitions, and hopefully that's our goal, to provide the best platform for the players. But in terms of how we can differentiate ourselves, I think our philosophy has been proven to develop players. Again, going back to the J Elite, when we started our select program, for example, I know you guys know Drew Bayer very much. He was one of the young boys from this group of kids that we had, and five of those kids are today playing in Major League Soccer clubs.
That's sick. So you're doing something right.
So exactly. So we've had the opportunity to have some success in developing players through to the high school, through the college ranks, and to the professional ranks. So I think our philosophy and our approach is definitely the difference. And I've been fortunate to bring in people who are very professional and share the same passion as I do to be able to lead these teams. And our coaching staff is top notch. So I think that's something that coming in to start the club at the older age groups, we wanted to make sure it was it's high quality and we maintain our principles, but also, happy to start and progress the teams, slowly.
So off of what you're saying with the coaching staff, if you don't have a good coaching staff, obviously the program's not going to run correctly. How do you pick the right coaches to help these young athletes develop? Like, how do you figure out who's who, what role you want to make?
Good question. I think, as I've gained experience through the game itself, teaching me the children, the players, the families, you start to understand that certain coaches and certain people can do better with certain age groups and certain levels.
Yeah.
There might be coaches that are more, really competitive to understand the game. The guys that are currently in the J League Football Club have all professional playing backgrounds, all of them, and are also licensed coaches, coaches that see the game from a tactical standpoint, but understand what it is to be a player. You know what I mean? So I think
That's
for me,
super important.
it's very important. They've played the game at the highest levels, but also, and they know that as a player, but they're also knowledgeable about the game. At that level with like 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, we're now talking a lot of tactics, right? And a lot of like starting to manage these players. How do we trigger these players to perform and really help them elevate their game? Whereas a developmental player at 6 years old might need a coach that's a little bit more energetic and more,
Playful.
personal with that player and really help that player grow on the fundamentals. So I think it's just understanding that. And I think, fortunately, we have in season, we have over 20 coaches. So it's a lot of management, but I've also, have some people have director roles as well, which is also really important.
Xenhouse, yeah. Xenhouse, yeah.